Some of them have never seen it before, so this is questions. I'm going to start with one, so while I'm doing that, think of them yourselves. I'm going to start with Stephen, actually. The book was, or the writing you first did was in 1999, correct? And yes, bringing it to today, 2012, so long later, I mean, was this something you were planning to do? Is it something you had challenges to do?
I always wanted to make this movie. I waited until I was ready to write the script. And many years wondering, why am I not doing this? Why am I waiting for it? And I knew, and now we can all feel it. I swear to God, I was waiting for this group. Because if I made it 4 years ago, they're too young. If I make it 4 years from now, they're too old. And defense, trust me, you're all going to put on 5 pounds. It's going to happen, but it was for this group. And I love them all so much as artists and as people.
They are all fantastic. Questions out in the audience? Okay, I'm going to start with the young lady right there.
This is just for all of you guys. What was your favorite scene to film?
The question was, what was their favorite scene to film? It was a question to all of them, so maybe a few of you guys can answer.
I mean, it was obviously the moment when I got strapped to the back of a pickup truck and went through the Fort Pitt Tunnel. How many miles an hour were we doing? Yeah, we did it right at the beginning of the movie, and it was like the perfect metaphor for me, kind of ready to start something new. But yeah, that's it for me. Love you too. I guess I would have to say probably the scene where with Charlie and Mary Elizabeth when she's sort of seducing him, because it's so upsetting. I'm watching it and I'm just like, oh God, no! It's just terrible. But it really feels like you get a good sense of her kind of for the first time letting her guard down. So I think it's kind of cool.
I like doing the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I was just kind of sitting there watching. It's funny to watch Ezra dance on Logan. You can't beat that.
Everybody on mine?
I'll just keep this.
For me, it was every scene with Ponytail Derek, because it was really awkward. Ponytail was intense. I'm gonna tell you, up close, personal.
Mine was any scene I was allowed to be in, I think.
Mine was this scene when Steve told me exactly how to wave. Do it exactly this way. I guess you could call it acting, maybe. It got a laugh, so Steve, thank you.
Okay, the lady over there. Questions about Catcher in the Rye and how much that had an influence on Stephen's writing of the script.
It was one of my favorite books in college, not high school. I came to it late, and it is an influence for sure. But, you know, so is Stephen King, you know? Because I love Stephen King, and really every book that Paul Rudd gives to Logan, those were all influences, and in many sense, you know. As for the movie, I mean, it's kind of a related question. Like I love, when I think back to being a kid, Dead Poet Society and the Breakfast Club and Harold and Maude and The Graduate got me through being a lost kid. And so those were my influences for this movie.
Yeah, Ezra, you mentioned in an interview that when you heard Stephen was on board, you were going to do this movie. And I was wondering if you or anyone else could elaborate on working with the man who wrote this iconic book. Were you intimidated? How do you handle that, working with him on the movie that he wrote and directed?
It was intimidating until the moment I met Stephen, and then he's incredibly generous, and he's incredibly trusting, and I think he made us all feel like we were trusted and like we were allowed to take part in this story, in this world, which was nice of him to do.
Okay, the gentleman over there.
I just wanted to say you all did an incredible job. I've been a fan of the book since grade 11. It was a science class actually. And you guys were just amazing. It was everything I loved. I thought would be more. So thank you. I just wanted to ask Stephen, with it being your book, how hard was it to choose what went into the movie and what got to the play?
The question is about how hard it was for Stephen to choose different parts of the book to include in the film.
So you studied my book in grade 11?
Yeah.
What grade did you get? Did you get an A?
I actually wrote an essay comparing it, like the similarities between Charlie and Potter.
Oh. Please send it to me. I'd like to read it. The hardest things to cut, as a novelist, and those who know my book, there's a lot of time spent with his friend Michael, who committed suicide. And I had written a lovely scene about that, and we hired somebody to play Michael. Owen Campbell's his name. He was very good. That was hard, because as a novelist, there's room for two ghosts. In a movie, I learned late, and Russ, our beloved producer, told me very early, "You're never going to include this in the movie." I'm like, "Please let me film it." And he's like, "Okay." And he was right, because there wasn't room, which is a shame, because Owen did a great job. But the one true hard thing to cut for me to let go of, and it was the last thing to go, because Nina was phenomenal in it, is those who know the book know that Charlie's sister gets pregnant. And there's a whole sequence about it, and we filmed it, and it's beautiful work. But what I found was, and Nina was so gracious about this, that, we all see what happens, with the cafeteria fight and the boys in the park and saying goodbye to Sam. There's so much emotion. It was just one thing, and it was too much, And that was heartbreaking to cut, because she's great at it. Great.
Okay, the question we had over here was to Emma. Let Logan finish.
Sorry about this. Sorry.
The story of Logan getting here could be its own movie. I'm serious. It's crazy.
Seriously.
Sorry, in answer to your question, I'm so sorry. I had many conversations with Steve about Sam. And Sam is not wholly, but partly based on a real person. And I just hounded him, really. Just like email after email. And there was so much in this, I don't know, there was so much in the script and in the book. And I don't know,
Okay, Emma's so great. So here's the moment. Emma is a very good student. Those of you who are fans know that she went to Brown and Oxford, which are both better than the school that I went to. So good for you. And you know what? It's like at first, this is what Emma does. She'll take your script and she'll turn it into a project. And by the end, she's written so many notes about her motivation and everything else that you are worried that she is a serial killer. You know what I mean? And then job to then say, it's completely true, and she knows it. Okay, so then what you have to do is you have to take it away at the beginning of filming and say, all you have to do is be Sam. You don't have to worry about the accent. You'll be great. We all know it. You don't have to worry. And what I found is there's a moment, and we all saw it filmed, and it's so exciting to talk about it after you saw it filmed, is when she went into the tunnel and she stood up, there was this one take. I'll never forget as long as I live, because she went in, and she was Emma, you know, and still with the script and the whole thing. And then something happened to this girl in 60 seconds inside that tunnel. And when she left, she was Sam.